Just moments ago, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz did what he's been threatening to do, and that is to attempt to fire Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his job.
The gentleman will state the form of his resolution.
Declaring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives to be vacant. Resolved that the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives is hereby declared to be vacant.
This comes after a dramatic but unsurprising reversal by Speaker McCarthy this weekend, who, relying on Democrats, narrowly avoided a government shutdown by passing a short-term funding measure. Despite bipartisan support, additional aid to Ukraine was not included in that bill. The short-term bill passed with all but one Democrat supporting it and with 90 Republicans opposed, something Speaker McCarthy seemed to forget when he talked to CBS on Sunday.
Most of it in the press probably thought we would have shut down yesterday, too. But no, we did not.
Were you confident we wouldn't shut down?
I was confident I could get something on the floor to make sure the option that we would not.
But
that
you
our
weren't sure
military,
it was going to pass.
Well, I wasn't sure it was going to pass. You want to know why? Because the Democrats tried to do everything they can not to let it pass. They did
Democrats were the ones who voted for this.
Did you?
But you see, Kevin has to lie. Because if you're a Republican, you can't work with Democrats for the good of the country. You get in trouble doing that. Joining me now is Cornell Belcher, Democratic pollster and strategist and MSNBC political analyst. Oh, Cornell. So let's talk about this. Because first of all, this seems like a bunch of BS to me. This guy, Matt Gaetz, has said he's going to, it took him 15 times to get to be speaker. I'm happy to keep doing this again and again and again until I get it. He can't do that without Democrats, right? I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but I can do math. He needs 218 votes. He's got right now 3 who are so far a yes. I've heard tell he might have 47. That ain't 218. How does he vacate the speakership without Democrats getting on board?
Well, it doesn't look like he can. And, there's an old adage that I know you know well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm not sure in this case that's true for Democrats. And what some of the reporting coming out that because Matt Gaetz is not your friend. Some of the reporting coming out now is that, what kind of deal can Democrats cut to help save Speaker McCarthy? So I think it actually ultimately puts Democrats in a stronger position than otherwise they would be to negotiate with the Speaker in order for the Speaker to stay Speaker.
It's remarkable because, right, the reporting you're hearing is that Pelosi, the Speaker Emeritus Pelosi is saying, don't help him. He's weak, leave him alone. But then you've got some ruminations that maybe some progressive Democrats might break and say, OK, we'll support a motion to vacate in order for something in exchange. But what could Matt Gaetz offer? What is he going to offer? You know what I mean? The numbers of some teenagers, if you want to date in Florida, like what does he have to offer Democrats?
He doesn't have anything to offer, but this is part and parcel of the problem. And hopefully Americans who are looking in on this see that these people are not serious about governing, and that this is one catastrophe, one crisis after another, because they're not serious about governing. You reported going into the midterm election, Joy. They campaign on inflation and crime and border security. And I don't know, Joy, I have not seen or heard a lot about their crime bill or their policy, their bills to tackle inflation. I have seen a lot about, Hunter Biden and shutting down the government.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, the actual thing that is happening is that Speaker McCarthy's trying to sound like a tough guy now, that there is an ethics investigation against Gaetz. What are the chances and that is for alleged, maybe sexually trafficking a teenager, which he denies, maybe some drug use and some nefarious things regarding drugs, et cetera. So they're taking witnesses. What are the chances that he's the one who gets kicked out?
I think pretty good. I mean, it's again, if you come for the king, you better get him. And I think there's a
yeah. Even if the king is extremely weak.
It doesn't matter. He still has office powers. If nothing else, he might find himself in an office outside of the Capitol, right? He still has power as Speaker to do harm to this guy.
Put him in the basement. Okay, let's talk about somebody who actually is the king in a way. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, he did make good on his promise to appoint a black woman to the United States Senate. And it was a surprise. What do we make of this? LaFonza Butler, she was an ally and advisor to Kamala Harris when she was running for president. You know, he did it, but it's not Barbara Lee, and a lot of people are not thrilled about that. What do you make of this choice?
Well, a couple things. One, full transparency. I have worked with LaFonza in the past, and I think she's extraordinary. And don't take it from me. The statement by Mayor Bass that this is someone who's worked for working people all her lives, and she supports her. She's a fabulous pick for this. But also, let's take a look at the politics. Look, Joy, I know a lot of people. Some people have problems with it, and look, I've heard Congressional Black Caucus, and they were pushing for Congresswoman Lee, and understandably so. But at the same time, aside of politics, I can't knock Gavin for this one, right? He picked someone who the women's community, the gay and lesbian rights community, and a large share of the African American community says you can't knock this. You can't knock this pick, and at the same time. So you pull back some of that criticism that will come from the pick, and at the same time, look, it is tough for the governor. And again, I have no dealings with Governor Newsom, but it's tough for the governor politically to pick someone who is currently running, because then he really puts his hand on the balance for someone. So I think it was a tough call for him to politically not pick Barbara Lee, given the pressure that Congressional Black Caucus was putting on him. But it is hard to argue with someone who's been fighting for working people's rights and for women's rights all their lives.
And I should note that, and we just put up how much money each of the three candidates who are actually in the race running have raised, and Barbara Lee is way behind in terms of fundraising, $2 million. Adam Schiff, who is Nancy Pelosi's pick, has $32 million in the bank. LaFonza Butler, though, former SEIU, so she's a labor leader. She's the head of Emily's List, meaning Emily's List's money would be behind her if she decided to run for the seat. She would be the first out LGBTQ, out lesbian member of the United States Senate. For so many reasons, this was a chess move on the governor's part. No, I mean, and there's nothing stopping her from running, right? Real quick. If she wants to run, she can jump in this race.
It was real savvy, but at the same time, when you look at her history, there's no history of her wanting to be out in front. She's a behind the scenes worker, getting things done. I've got no insider information. I don't think she wants to run for Senate, or she would have run for office before.
Sure. Well, we found out from Dianne Feinstein that once you get in there, you want to be there. People like being a senator. They like it when they get there. We'll see what happens. Cornell Belcher. Thank you very much.